Our story begins in the quaint little town of New Ashford. Located on the east side of the continent, New Ashford was a quiet town with just a few shops, ruled at the time by a cruel and corrupt counselor named Hayworth. The town was home to one of our main characters and was serving as a temporary place to be stuck by another. And soon enough, the two would have their first encounter, which would alter the course of their fates forever. Meet Electra, a 16-year-old roaming the continent after leaving home and setting out on her own to get an education. As far as her parents knew, that's what she was doing at least, but instead, she found herself getting educated in various other things. Her classrooms were more often a stranger's bed or behind the bar where she worked. One day, Electra woke up to find a strange woman laying in bed next to her. As was her way, Electra silently hopped out of bed, stole some stuff from the sleeping lady, and departed the tent to go about her day. On her way to work, she passed a boy whose name was Timmy. He was pathetically getting beaten at marbles by Randall, the town bully. Feeling particularly benevolent that day, Electra stepped in to help poor Timmy win his marbles back from the bully. It did not go well. Timmy lost his marbles, but, literally. Continuing on to work, Electra hopped over to the local bakery to buy a honeyed bread, where she unsuccessfully flirted with the baker, who mentioned that he was happily married with 2 kids. So she set off and arrived at work, where she was instantly scolded by her manager Dilford for being late. At the bar, Electra went about her day, getting harassed by local drunks, doing many skill checks for walking with liquid, and getting asked to mix overly complicated and made-up cocktails. Ricard, the most obnoxious of the drunks, gave Electra a particularly hard time. He was always pretty awful to her, but this particular time, when her shift ended, he complained straight to Dilford. Dilford, in turn, fired Electra right there on the spot. She was happy to be rid of that place at last, but at the same time, she was suddenly worried about how she would land on her feet after losing her job. She just didn't know what to do. But Electra wasn't the only one having a bad day that day. Let's go back again and see it from the angle of our other protagonist. Meet Lucio. Also meet his family, his wife Tabitha, and his children, Duke and Gretchen. Together, they lived and worked at Lucio's bakery in New Ashford. It earned him a modest living, and he was generally well reviewed by the town. He even achieved a B health rating. Tasked with preparing buttered buns and cakes to prepare for a party at Hayworth's estate, Lucio fired up the bakery and put the whole family to work. As he churned along in the bakery, Hayworth himself paid a visit to Lucio and altered the deal. Lucio prayed that he wouldn't alter it further. Despite Duke's inability to acquire more baking equipment, think critically, or just even focus, Lucio was able to finish all of his ordered goods for the day. Along with the family, he departed off towards Hayworth's estate. Along the way, Lucio was carelessly bumped into by a very rude man, sending the cakes flying. However, Lucio was able to expertly catch all of the goods before they hit the ground. Continuing on, he ran across a boy named Timmy, who was sniffling and crying, saying that his marbles had been stolen. But Lucio had more important things to do. Upon arriving at the estate, the jester there jested at Lucio's life. After trying to fight him, but failing multiple times, Lucio sicked his kids on the poor jester, much to the anger of Hayworth. Fortunately, Lucio graciously stepped in for the jester, who had just been rendered a cripple by Lucio's children. Unfortunately, Lucio's lack of talent for jesting, combined with Duke's lack of talent for, existing, came together beautifully to ruin the performance. In the ensuing chaos, Gretchen was captured and taken away. Lucio's luck had mostly turned south, as he found himself waking up in a jail cell. However, south was soon to be the source of some good fortune, as Lucio pooped a little bit and used the poop to incapacitate the jail guard, allowing him to make a hasty escape. As Lucio snuck into Hayberth's room to poop on some of his clothes and steal some others, he suddenly noticed a commotion outside. Looking outside, he saw Gretchen being beheaded out in the courtyard. In a panic, not knowing what to do, Lucio changed and ran home. However, he arrived at home just in time to see Tabitha being taken away as well. Knowing that Tabitha was a goner, Lucio went to find Duke. Fortunately, Duke was easy to find, as he was outside playing marbles with Randall. Lucio explained the situation to Duke and calmly said that they needed to find a boat to sail out of town. Lucio pointed at the docks and told Duke to go get a boat while he packed up supplies from the bakery to take with them. What happened next, there's not quite any explanation for. You see, despite there being only one source of water in town, Duke, in his infinite wisdom, decided to run deeper into the town. Maybe it was Duke's problem, maybe it was just a vengeful god that day out to get Lucio's family. But whatever happened, Duke went into town to find a boat, away from the water source. Unfortunately, but not unpredictably, he did not find a boat. No, I'm afraid the only thing Duke found deeper in the town was a swift execution at the hands of one of Hayberth's dogs. Lucio was distraught. He had just witnessed the murder of his whole family, and he was a wanted man in the small town. He didn't know what to do. But, fortunately for our two adventurers, they were both about to get something very important to do.